Hi, in this video I'm just going to take you through our EK9500, just some initial settings for things like the IP address. Right, what we've got on Infosys, you can see that we can go into our EK950 Infosys, and Infosys actually just takes apart our documentation. So if you've got the PDF or you've got this, they're both one and the same thing, just laid out slightly different. Right, what we've got, dip switches. This is the important part. So we've got a dip switch just down at the side, just underneath the two Ethernet ports. And something to notice that can catch you out is they say here left is off, right is on. So exactly the same as this little arrow here. Although when they took the picture of this configuration is actually just a bad configuration. So that's just something to bear in mind. So don't mimic this configuration here. Set it up yourself, okay? So what we're going to be doing is, to start with, let's just make connection to the device in its standard way, which is using 192.168.1.3. So in order to make sure we've got the right settings of this, we're going to set these last two dip switches. We're going to go for both 0, otherwise it's going to use DHCP if it's 0 and 1. So that means both of those, push them over to the left-hand side. Next, we're going to set the configuration of 3, so that means both 1 and 2 will be on the right-hand side, all the rest will be left. Okay, that should be it. So once we've got that, we can then go in and go 192.168.1.3 config. And the first time you connect, it'll actually pop up with a authentication box. The password is guest and lowercase, and the password is number 1. Okay, right, let's say, let's just have a look at the configuration itself. So we can go inside here and see what the thing's doing. So it's going to start bringing up just some general initializations, what's been going on with the unit itself. An important one, the NIC. It's in here that we would actually change the IP address. So let's say, for example, we didn't want it to be on 192.168.1 something. Instead, we wanted it on a 10.8. This is where you would change it. So you'd start off by doing your first part of your IP address. You can actually use any number here itself. Because if you've got this thing configured where the last part of the IP address is via the dip switches, it'll actually overwrite what you've done here. And this last part will be replaced by your dip switch. So 192.168.1 is default. If you need to change that first set, you need to do it from this configuration here. Then the last part you can actually do via your dip switches. Okay, and that's it. So otherwise, DHCP, if you've got a DHCP server, you can just leave it to discover itself. Other things while we're in here, we're going to have a look on EtherCAT to start with, because the thing is an EtherCAT master inside. Obviously, it does EtherCAT master, then onto the right-hand side to all the terminals. I've actually got an EL1008 and an EL2024, just so we can see. And you can see it's discovered those already. I didn't have to do anything at this point. It's actually put all the cards into operation. We do have cyclic counts going on, and both you can see the states, the internal states of the machine, of the cards themselves are both living in op2. If you're going to do any changes, so we can go into the slaves themselves, and if there was configuration data, we can actually change the configuration data in here. Now, let's say, for example, you needed to save some configuration data for the card. You actually do it using these create restore files. So the coupler itself has the ability to save a parameter set inside it, and that way when the cards are replaced, it will detect that a new card has come in, and it'll actually put its configuration data back in. Obviously, things like standard input and output cards, they don't need configuration, they'll just do what they need to do. So that's an important one here, and then obviously Ethernet IP. This is where we head off into how we map different parts of the image over, so we can actually do the mapping here, and it tells you actually tells you how it's been mapped. And also as well, a very important part is from here we have the ability to create the EDS file or the L5X file, which you'll then use in your master project. And that's it. Okay, very quick introduction just to this terminal. Nothing crazy technical, but at least this gives you an idea on how to set up the IP addresses. The little gotcha with those dip switches, just because they're ran the wrong way from the image. How you can see the EtherCAT, where it's detected the cards itself. And finally, your Ethernet IP mapping, plus how to get the EDS files from it. Okay, right, catch you next time.